To create the main menu loop, I'm going to head over to the main function here. I'm going to add the loop keyword, and in the loop, we're going to need to take a few actions. We're going to need to display the menu. We're going to need to make a choice based on user input. And we'll also need to create our bills that will be used to track the information. So we'll need to create bill structure. These are the things we'll need to handle in this loop. So the first thing I'm going to tackle is to display the menu. Now, to do so, I'm going to create an enumeration. I'm going to name my enumeration main menu. Let's jump back to the requirements and see which menus we need first. So the first things we're going to need is adding bills and viewing existing bills. So we're only going to add those two menus for right now. So we'll have add bill and view bill. The next thing I'm going to do is implement some functionality for the main menu enumeration. So I'm going to create a function called from_str. So it's short for from string, and we'll take some input from the user, which will be a borrowed str, and we'll return an option. The option will be a main menu enumeration. Now, the purpose of this function is to take some input from the user here, and we're going to try to create one of these variants in the main menu. And this will act as our check to see if the user entered something correct or incorrect. So if it's correct, we'll get the option back. And if it's incorrect, it's just going to be none. And we know the user entered some bad input. And we can take further action based on that. So we're going to match on the input. And I'm going to use a number system. So we'll have number 1 be the add bill menu. So we'll return an add bill variant. And then number 2 will be the view bill variant. And if they enter anything else, we'll just return none. Now, the next thing we'll need to do is actually display the menu. I'm going to have that logic within this implementation as well. So I'm just going to name it show. And all it's going to do is print out the menu itself. So we'll just print out a blank line first. Then we'll print out bill manager. Then we'll print out menu 1, add bill, and then menu 2, view bills. We'll also want a place to put the cursor, so we'll have a blank line followed by an enter selection prompt. And when this menu prints, the user will have their cursor at the end of this enter selection, so it'll look nice and clean. Now we'll hop down to the main function and we'll display our menu. So we'll just replace this comment and we'll do a main menu show. We'll also want to get some user input. We'll use the function that we created earlier. So the function is just get input. For now, we'll just assume that the user enters something. So we'll just do an expect no data entered. So what's going to happen here with the expect, at least for our debugging purposes, if we just hit enter with nothing, the program will just terminate with a message. We'll change this later once we add some more options. Next, we'll match on the main menu function we wrote, and it will be the from_str. And we'll take the input and turn it into a reference so we can work with it. So remember that the from_str function that we just created as part of the main menu, that's going to return an optional main menu enumeration. So it's going to return one of these variants. So we'll need to match on one of those variants. We go back down here, we can match on those. So we'll have some main menu add bill. And then we'll also have view bill. We know it does return an option, so we need to account for the none variant. So if we get none, we'll do a different action. We'll actually just return to exit out of the program. For now, I'm just using the unit type for the return values of the match arms, and the unit type just means nothing. So once we create the other menus for the add bill and view bill, we can then fill out the function calls here and here in order to get the menu to work. I'm going to save this and do a cargo check just to make sure the syntax and everything else is fine so far. To open up a terminal, you can go to Terminal, New Terminal. To check the program, we'll do cargo check --bin p1. So I do have some errors. So I need to use the module, the IO module, so I forgot to do that. So we'll do that now. We jump back to the code. We can use it here at the top. I believe it's just standard IO. So let's save and check. Okay, so now on 40, we have mismatched types. Let's jump to line 40 and take a look. So it looks pretty simple. I just forgot to have 2 equals to compare it. So we'll save that and then do another cargo check. And now we're good to go. I'm just going to run it to make sure it works. It should be an infinite loop, I believe. So we can't make any selections because we haven't coded that yet. And it looks like we have everything working. Remember, when we have an empty entry, it's going to exit the program with a message, no data entered. So that looks like it's working good. So this is all we need for handling the main menu, for our main menu loop. So we just have our loop right here. We show the main menu, we get the user input, and then we figure out which menu the user chose. In the next video, we'll be creating the data structures needed to store our billing information.